Recently, I've noticed my boyfriend acting very strangely. That day, I had just gotten home from work. The inexplicable sound of a power drill made my heart skip a beat. I tiptoed quietly toward the back room. The sight before me almost made me think I was in the wrong house. Amidst the flying sparks of the power drill, Mao Bufen's slightly eerie back came into view. He was actually sealing up the balcony. Soudainly, mi phone buzzed. A delivery notification popped up on the screen. Mao Bufen had bought 3 large commercial freezers. They were currently out for delivery. This was already the 4th large storage device he'd bought this month. What on earth is he planning? My heart started racing. Countless horror movie scenes flashed through my mind. We had just been giving each other the cold shoulder for a few days. He wouldn't go that far, right? That delivery notification instantly sent my curiosity through the roof. I immediately went back to my room, logged into our shared shopping account, and saw even more spine-chilling items. Professional outdoor tactical knives, waterproof tents, solid fuel, and even a full set of multi-grade sharpening stones. I couldn't help but tremble. The partner I once shared everything with now felt like a complete stranger. Enjuten. The noise outside stopped abruptly. Footsteps slowly approached my door. I gripped the door handle tightly, terrified of making even the slightest sound. Xiang xiang. How much money is left on your card? My heart instantly jumped into my throat. Fortunately, he didn't seem to have any intention of coming in. Double. Why are you asking? I want to go buy some things tonight, he said, trying to push the door open as he spoke. I screamed in terror, don't come in. Xiang xiang, stop acting like this. I'll explain everything after I finish shopping. The reason we fought a few days ago was also because he dragged a massive solar panel home. I even joked with him then, asking if he wanted to be a pioneer in renewable energy. But looking at it now, all of this seems heavily premeditated. He even thought about alternative power sources. Juste then, the doorbell suddenly rang. Listening to his footsteps fading away, I secretly breathed a sigh of relief. With trembling fingers on my phone, I quickly drafted an SOS message. Yes. I scheduled the sewer pipe modification. Oh, by the way, I wanted to ask, can this be modified into a completely independent pipe? Money is not an issue. Not long after, loud hammering sounds echoed from the kitchen. The sounds of dismantling. I was debating whether I should immediately run out and scream for help, when Mao Bufen quietly appeared outside my door without me noticing. Despite the chaotic noise of construction, his next words reached my ears with terrifying clarity, making my blood run cold instantly. Xiang xiang. We only have 3 days until the apocalypse. Sitting in the car, Mao Bufen's face was grim. It was as if the apocalypse he spoke of was truly coming. Is there something wrong with your brain? I snapped back to my senses. The overwhelming sense of absurdity completely masked my previous fear. Are you telling me you've watched too many movies and lost your mind? Where, in reality, would an apocalypse come from? Xiang xiang, please believe me. I'm not lying to you. While waiting at the red light, the moment Mao Bufen looked at me, I was deeply shaken, because I had never seen him look so serious before. Do you remember that news report I forwarded to you a while ago? In Mima, I recalled that article about an unknown virus that caused ordinary people to lose their sanity. That report is real. Don't tell me you bought the solar panels and freezers to hoard supplies, and sealing the balcony is to prevent a zombie home invasion? Yes, and buying fuel, modifying the pipes, getting all those knives. It's... As the light turned green, Mao Bufan calmly explained, modifying the pipes is to prevent the toilet from getting backed up in the future. Hoarding fuel is to ensure we have fire. The knives are for butchering and portioning the meat we buy. Do you have any other questions? I stared blankly, straight ahead. Deep down, my skepticism was already wavering. Everything you're saying is true. There really are only 3 days left. So we have to get completely prepared right now. Not long after, we arrived at the supermarket entrance. With our entire savings of 300,000 yuan, we embarked on our apocalyptic shopping spree. 10 years of our relationship. Even if this is fake, I'll go along with it. How many more crazy decades can we possibly have together? Making up my mind, I pushed the cart and dashed toward the frozen section first. Without hesitating, I loaded a full cart with all kinds of frozen dumplings. I thought to myself, if we end up trapped at home later, fresh fruits, vegetables, and meats will be a luxury. These frozen treasures can guarantee a balanced diet. And they can be stored for a very long time. It was then that I finally realized Mao Bufan's decision to buy 3 commercial freezers was absolutely brilliant. Thinking about the next items on the shopping list as I walked, a supermarket employee saw me pushing to carts alone, sweeping goods off the shelves without checking prices, and ran over enthusiastically. She proactively took over one of the carts. Miss, are you stocking up for winter? What else do you need? I'll get someone to help you load up. I run a small convenience store, so my demand is high. I casually fabricated an excuse. Next, I moved to the grain and oil section, and direct Lensako freeze. And 10 jugs, each of peanut oil and canola oil. Easily secured. While passing the flour section, I saw Mao Bufan frantically loading bags of flour. Then I rushed to the instant food section. Various flavors of self-heating rice meals. Except for the plain flavor, I grabbed several boxes of every other flavor. Right next to it was the imported sauce section. I cleared out the pasta sauces, French mustard, and large jars of sour and spicy pickles. Lao Ganma chili crisp was buy 2 get 1 free. So naturally, I grabbed a bunch of those too. 2 older ladies saw my shopping carts and couldn't help but whisper to each other, is there a massive sale today? How come we didn't hear a word about it? I smiled at them awkwardly, saying I don't like going out much, so I prefer to bulk buy. When it comes to food, the more the merrier. Looking up, Mao Bufan was holding a box of frozen pizzas and stuffing it into his cart. Frozen burgers, fries, chicken nuggets, he didn't skip any. All kinds of frozen seafood were packed in there as well. Seeing his relentless pace, people around him were stunned. An older man couldn't help but mutter, are they planning to move the entire supermarket home. Young people nowadays sure know how to enjoy themselves. Of course, I couldn't slack off either. Various seasonings, Ziploc bags, disinfectants, toilet paper, kitchen towels. I bought enough to last 5 years. Plus enough sanitary pads to last me until the end of time. Chicken feet, duck feet, and meat jerky. I took a few boxes of each. If the end of the world really did come, these could serve as nice little snacks. Then I went to the clearance, discount section and filled another cart with all sorts of snacks. While waiting for Mao Bufan at the checkout counter, a long line of carts had formed behind me. More than 20 shopping carts, fully loaded, packed with food, drinks, and daily necessities, since we were buying an astronomical amount. The store manager repeatedly confirmed we wanted all of it, and specifically opened multiple checkout lanes just for us. He even assigned staff to neatly box everything up. Première aftose. The feeling of this kind of crazy shopping spree was incredibly satisfying. After paying, the manager kindly offered a private truck delivery to our home. I was just about to agree when Mao Bufan gently tugged at me and politely declined. Thank you, but we'll handle the transportation ourselves. Could you help move part of the goods to the supermarket's underground packing? We'll come pick them up later. I thought about it for a second and instantly understood his logic. When the apocalypse hits, we cannot expose our location to anyone. Sometimes human nature is far more terrifying than zombies. Later, Mao Bufan rented a small box truck. We started transporting the supplies in batches. Thanks to the fact that we lived in a remote suburb, in the dead of night. Aside from the security guard at the gate, we almost never ran into any neighbors. To avoid causing any unnecessary trouble, we were extra careful. On my way back home alone, I suddenly remembered we forgot to buy drinking water. So I drove to different locations along the route and bought 70 to 80 large jugs of water in batches, only taking a few each time, so as not to arouse suspicion. After multiple trips, I was completely exhausted, my arms and legs feeling like jelly. It wasn't until 1 a.m. that I finished everything. Physically and mentally drained, I did a quick wash and immediately collapsed into bed. When I woke up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom, I passed by the guest bedroom and noticed Mao Bufan's light was still on. He was assembling heavy-duty shelves. His stern face faintly carried a touch of melancholy. I stood quietly and watched him for a moment, feeling a mix of complex emotions before silently returning to my room. The next morning, a sudden, loud banging noise completely jolted me from my sleep. Two strangers appeared in my house, installing a massive, reinforced metal security door. Not long after, the workers quickly wrapped up. Mao Bufan and I plan to go out again to stock up on other survival essentials. First, we went to the largest labor protection supply store. I need 10 pairs of anti-cut gloves. Anti-cut gloves. Make sure it's the toughest material. And give me 5 pairs of safety goggles, highest protection grade available. Upon hearing this, the clerk's eyes went wide, his face full of confusion. Also, give us 10 rolls of high-strength medical bandages. Oh, and those large-capacity tactical first aid kits. Give us 5 of those. The clerk couldn't hold back his curiosity and asked, "You guys are buying so much gear. What are you planning to do?" Without breaking a sweat, I smiled and replied, "We're planning an expedition to the tropical rainforest. So we need top-notch protective gear." Iringti. The clerk looked impressed and neatly packed all the items into a sturdy canvas bag. Next, we headed to the pharmacy. Yuan Yao, hemostatic powder, antibiotics, iodine, gauze, and so on. A one-stop sweep. After that, we headed straight to the electronics market and bookstore. We bought 2 50-terabyte external hard drives, fully loaded with variety shows, TV series, and offline games. Finally, we transported all these spoils of war back home. While organizing the supplies at home, I turned on the TV for some background noise. Suddenly, a news broadcast caught my attention. Today, in Haoxiong City, multiple violent incidents involving patients attacking people occurred at the hospital. According to eyewitnesses, the patients exhibited loss of control and extreme frenzy. So far, 10 people have been injured. The screen showed an image of a man with a twisted face, bloodshot eyes, and his mouth wide open, lunging forward. Emao Buffon. Is this the zombie outbreak you mentioned? Yes. Do you believe me now? Mao Buffon muttered to himself while watching the TV. So, it has already begun. Emao Buffon. Shouldn't we warn others that the apocalypse is coming? The news broadcast on TV continued. The victims bitten by the patients are being properly treated. Hearing my words, Mao Buffon didn't reply verbally. Instead, he unlocked his tablet. I already posted a warning thread on the forum long ago. I also forwarded the message to everyone I could contact, but most people thought I was just fear-mongering. They either ignored me or outright treated me like a lunatic. I took the tablet and looked. In that forum post, he detailed the severe consequences a zombie crisis would bring. He even attached various related analyses and speculations. The comments under the post were all over the place. Some were sarcastic. Has the op been playing too many video games? What a wild imagination. A zombie crisis. What a load of BS. Some were half skeptical, though it sounds ridiculous. There really have been a lot of weird incidents lately. Could something huge actually be about to happen? Only a very few people said they would take some precautions before disaster truly strikes. Most people refuse to believe things that sound like fairy tales. All we can do is ensure our own survival preparations are complete. When Mao Buffon first told me, I had questioned him too. Even now, I was only mostly convinced, not entirely. I let out a sigh. Everything is in God's hands now. Suddenly, a loud crash woke me up. I snapped my eyes open. It was pitch black around me. Is it not dawn yet? Première frenade. Pricking up my ears to listen. It was pure chaos outside. Collision. Explosions mixed with terrified screams and wails. Suddenly, a strange smell hit my nose. The smell of smoke. Is something burning? Following the scent to the living room. The whole house was permeated with this burning odor. It was clearly coming from outside. Thinking of this, I pulled back the curtains. The scene before me left me utterly dumbfounded. 11th Street. Several cars were smashed haphazardly across the road. Hoods popped open, billowing thick black smoke. The shops across the street were engulfed in flames. Through the thick smoke, I could see silhouettes of people running wildly in panic. And down below, a group of people were huddled tightly together, their bodies twitching and jerking, their movements bizarre and uncoordinated. Strangely, it was eerily quiet around them, except for a bone-chilling chewing sound. Crunch, crunch, like they were gnawing on something hard. I stared, in shock at the devastation below. Suddenly, a miserable shriek pierced the silence. I flinched violently, my whole body shivering uncontrollably. The next second, a zombie slowly turned its head up. Those dead, fish-like eyes gleaming with predatory hunger. The zombie horde had really arrived. My mind went completely blank. Cold sweat poured down my back. I didn't even have the courage to step back. Mao Bufin pulled the curtains shut from behind me and pulled me tightly into his embrace. Will I turn into one of them? As I spoke, the salty taste of tears flooded my mouth. Irigme. ... Ascati. Mao Bufin's eyes instantly reddened, staring at me with unyielding determination. He said, I will protect you, no matter what. Sudanli. Both our phones exploded with notifications. Message pings rang out, frantically. The residents group chat was blowing up. What's going on? Are they shooting a disaster movie? Or a reality show? Stop dreaming. I saw the old man from 100 to get taken down with my own eyes. If I hadn't run fast enough, I would be WATDO. Has anyone called the police? The streets are full of zombies. I bet the police are completely overwhelmed. There are zombies banging on the lobby doors of our building. Help me, why am I so unlucky? I shouldn't have bought a ground floor unit just because it was cheap. I just graduated. My life hasn't even started yet. I don't want to die like this. There's a terrifying face plastered on my window. They won't break in, right? While everyone was panicking, the receipt of 100 sent a voice message. With trembling hands, I hit play. A piercing scream, mixed with bone-chilling sounds of flesh being torn, blasted from the speaker. What happened? Are you okay? I quickly typed to ask. The only response was dead silence. Moments later, the receipt of 205 idiot. In the video, 3 zombies were standing rigidly outside their door, mechanically slamming against it, looking closely. One of them was actually the fit young guy from 107 who always went to the gym. I was instantly paralyzed with shock. It felt like death was standing right next to me. I curled up on the sofa, shivering in fear. Wrapped in heavy, double-layered blankets, I still couldn't stop trembling. At that moment, map of warm milk. With a hint of helplessness in his eyes, he said, Xiong Xiong. Scenes like this will be an everyday occurrence from now on. You have to adapt as soon as possible. A reassuring smile. And took the milk with shaky hands. The next second, a woman's piercing scream echoed from right outside our door. I jumped in terror. almost spilling the cup in my hands. I looked helplessly at Mao Bufan. He held my hand, looking at me encouragingly, summoning my courage. I cautiously crept toward the door. Through the peephole, a zombie was attacking the couple from 503. The woman had already been grabbed tightly by the zombie. It was obvious she was about to be killed. She desperately begged her boyfriend for help. The man stood cowardly inside his doorway, holding a wooden club, too paralyzed to move. Suddenly, the man roared fiercely. He actually shoved both the woman and the zombie completely out of his doorway. Then he ruthlessly slammed and locked the door. Listening to the sounds, he was even barricading the door with heavy objects. Outside, the woman's agonized screams echoed endlessly. The scene shattered me completely. Tears welled up frantically in my eyes. Being pushed to death by the one you love. She must be in unimaginable despair. At that moment, the great blew uppers. I have plenty of mutai and wulianji liquor here. Can I trade them for 2 cups of instant noodles? Have time to stock up on food. Who has food? I'll buy it with cash. Messages begging for food flooded in, one after another. But nobody replied. Everyone knew perfectly well. Right now, food is the only hard currency. When you can't go out, and no one can come in, money is just scrap paper. A few minutes later, property management sent a group announcement. Dear residents, please do not panic. Stay safely at home. Management is finding a way to deliver supplies to everyone. We will ensure everyone makes it until rescue arrives. Mao Bufan and I exchanged a bitter smile. In this current situation, everyone is just trying to save themselves. Isn't management just selling us false hope? Just take it with a grain of salt. Yet, some people in the chat naively chimed in to thank them. Several days quietly passed. Thanks to the supplies we hoarded earlier, we didn't have to worry about our stomachs. But I had no appetite for anything. The once bustling neighborhood seemed to have been put on mute. Occasional screams and crashing sounds still kept my nerves on edge. I slouched on the sofa, my mind a total blank, praying for this nightmare to end quickly. Suddenly, rapid knocking echoed in my ears. The asterisk, thump dash thump asterisk made my heart race wildly. Holy crap, are there zombies at the door? I pressed my lips together tightly, not daring to make a sound. Don't be scared. Zombies wouldn't be polite enough to knock. Mao Bufan lowered his voice to remind me. The knocking sounded again. Xiong xiong. It's Mrs. Wang from upstairs. I'm completely out of rice. Could you spare a little for me? Mrs. Wang's gentle voice came from outside. Hearing it was her, I breathed a slight sigh of relief. Just as I was about to answer, Mao Bufan pulled me back. Don't make a sound. If they find out, we have a stockpile. We're in deep trouble. Mao Bufan's words made my chest tighten. I quickly covered my mouth, but was full of confusion. He and Mrs. Wang were pretty well acquainted. She had always been very amiable in the past, even coming over to chat from time to time. Why was Mao Bufan saying she wasn't trustworthy? And who is they? Xiong xiong, the other night I saw you and your boyfriend moving food in the middle of the night. We've been neighbors for a while. You have to help me Hearing no response from inside, Mrs. Wang's lowered voice drifted in again. I was a bit taken aback. At the time, to avoid being seen, we specifically transported everything at midnight. We even tightly sealed everything in cardboard boxes. How could she have known? Mao Bufin signaled for me to look outside. Through the peephole, Mrs. Wang's eyes were darting around, filled with fear and anxiety. Wait, no. Her gaze seemed to be deliberately avoiding something. I couldn't help but shudder. It looked like someone was hiding behind her. Suddenly, Mrs. Wang started violently pounding on the door. Xiang, I know you're in there. Please, just give me some food. The pounding grew more frantic. Slam after slam. The next second, a zombie's roar erupted from outside, followed closely by chaotic footsteps. A rough man's voice cursed loudly. If you hadn't promised there were supplies here, why the hell would I have come all the way here into this mess? It's so dangerous. What now? Think of a way to get in. Otherwise, I'll feed you to the zombies. I have an idea. Just give me one more chance. Mrs. Wang's trembling voice drifted further and further away. My heart almost stopped beating. So they came to rob our supplies. And there's more than one of them. If we had opened the door, Mao Bufin and I would be as good as dead. I looked at Mao Bufin, secretly admiring his foresight. Mao Bufin. Do you think Mrs. Wang was coerced? Whether she was forced or planned this. She brought people to our door. That's an undeniable fact. I swallowed hard and couldn't help but nod. Just when I thought this ordeal was over, a message from Mrs. Wang popped up in the group chat. The residents of Unit 5-2 in Building 2 have hoarded a massive amount of food. I saw it with my own eyes. Everyone, hurry up and ask them for help. This message was like detonating a time bomb. The group chat instantly exploded. Neighbors started frantically tagging us. Have some mercy. If I have to die, I want to die with a full stomach. Can you sell me a few pounds of pork? My girlfriend wants hot pot. Please help us out, miss. I have no rice or oil left at home. Please. Seeing these endless streams of messages, my head felt like it was being pierced by countless needles, aching so badly it might explode. Mao Bufin furrowed his brows deeply, his face turning grim. Mrs. Wang's move is truly vicious. In the blink of an eye, she had pushed us to the center of the storm. If we succumbed to the pressure and handed over our supplies, even though each person wouldn't get much, they would at least get something out of it. We had a conflict with the resident of 300 to before. Don't believe her words. We don't have any stockpiles. I understand everyone's desperate need for supplies, but we really can't help. I didn't want things to escalate further, so I spoke up in the group. However, that didn't quell the dispute Mrs. Wang had stirred up. If you have it, just bring it out. Don't be so stingy. If I had any, I'd happily share it with everyone. We are all neighbors. A close neighbor is better than a distant relative. Now is the time when true friendship is tested in adversity. If you help everyone today, when you're in trouble later, we won't just stand by. It's life or death now. Don't be so selfish. Looking at these messages, I was shaking with anger. There's always someone who talks a big game without taking any risk. You're all saying this. Then, any neighbor with supplies, let's start a list. Let's see how much food we have in total, so we can distribute it reasonably. After Mao Bufan sent that message, the group instantly fell dead silent. Several minutes passed. Not a single person added to the list. Mao Bufan helplessly shrugged at me. See, that's human nature. At this time, the low growls of zombies outside rose and fell. Mrs. Wang's pounding seemed to have attracted even more zombies to wander around our door. They shouldn't be able to get in, right? My hands were covered in cold sweat. I asked in panic. Don't worry. I reinforced this door ahead of time. The materials are very sturdy. They won't be able to bust it down. Mao Bufan guided me back to the bedroom and turned on my favorite show on the tablet. But my mind was in complete turmoil. I couldn't focus on it at all. I couldn't help but glance at the residents' group chat again. The chat was still dead silent. Ever since Mao Bufan sent that message, no one had uttered a single word. I don't know how long it had been, when a sudden loud thud erupted outside the window. It sounded like a heavy object falling. Out of curiosity, I pulled the curtains open. In the garden down below, a woman lay sprawled, in a bizarrely twisted posture. A massive pool of blood spreading around her. Her body was twitching uncontrollably, tracing the path of the blood trail upward. A man stood in front of an open window on the 5th floor, looking down intently. Zombies, with a keen sense of smell, were already being drawn over. Was the woman thrown out by him? The moment that thought crossed my mind, my vision went dark, and I stumbled, bumping into the window frame. The man seemed to notice the noise from my end. He slowly raised his head and made a throat-slitting gesture at me. My throat tightened in terror. I frantically yanked the curtains completely shut. My heart pounded wildly in my chest, as if it were going to burst out at any second. He probably ran out of food, so he had to resort to this to save himself. Bufan calmly analyzed the situation. Will we ever have a day like that? Absolutely not. Even if there is only one sip of water left, it will be yours. I went into the bathroom to wash my face. I turned the faucet, but not a single drop of water came out. The water was cut off. Mao Bufan followed me in, looking at me with a bitter expression. I have another piece of bad news. The power is out too. Fortunately, we had prepared for this. Mao Bufan and I cautiously started up the generator. The rumbling noise felt unusually piercing in this dead apocalyptic world. We didn't dare leave it running all the time, constantly worrying that the noise would attract more zombies. Days passed one by one. The number of zombies multiplied by the day. Among the wandering hordes, I often spotted familiar faces, looking at their eyes glowing with an eerie red light. I couldn't help but feel a pang of deep sorrow. Slowly, I grew accustomed to this apocalyptic lifestyle. Dokiltim. I binge-watched a few episodes of TV shows every day. Late one night, I was sleeping grudgingly when I suddenly heard a fierce argument outside the window. As a reflex, I got up and pulled back the curtain. Under the moonlight, two burly men were waving clubs at a woman. They snatched her handbag and shoved her directly into the approaching zombie horde. This seemed to be standard procedure, post-apocalypse now. Humanity's true nature was fully exposed in the apocalypse. I helplessly drew the curtains shut. I don't know when it started, but seeing such scenes now, my heart was like a stagnant pool of water, with barely any ripples. Maybe it's apathy. I silently judged myself in my head, but knew full well I was powerless to change anything. And I certainly didn't risk my life and malbufens over it. Malbufin woke up at some point too. Evading zombies is hard enough. Now, we even have to defend against our own kind. This existence is too tragic. Survival is tough. I just want to keep you safe. Before he could finish, a sudden strange noise came from the kitchen. He immediately ran over to check. I followed right behind. Visa window. Something unidentified seemed to be wriggling. An ominous feeling surged into my heart. With a stern expression, Malbufin shielded me behind him. Go back to the bedroom, lock the door from the inside. I'll go handle it. Ain't that? He grabbed a meat cleaver and walked toward the kitchen. My heart instantly tightened. Malbufin, come back to the bedroom and lock the door. I gritted my teeth, turned, and ran back to the bedroom. I grabbed a chainsaw and, trembling, walked back to the kitchen. At the window, a zombie was desperately trying to squeeze its head through the gap. Its face was too gruesome to look at directly. Bloodshot eyes, disgusting fluids dripping from its mouth. Suddenly, it opened its blood-stained maw, bit down hard on the window frame, and violently tore at it. I took a deep breath, squeezed my eyes shut, raised the chainsaw high until the zombie screamed and plummeted downwards. I didn't even dare to open my eyes. I collapsed onto the floor, my legs feeling like weak noodles. In the end, Malbufin practically had to drag me back to the bedroom. I didn't even have the courage to turn back and look. For the next few days, things were calm and peaceful. Malbufin and I breathed a slight sigh of relief. To save electricity, we first consumed the food stored in the fridge. We originally thought we could survive safely in this sturdy little nest. But the unpredictability of fate is like a blind box. You never know if the next second will bring a pleasant surprise or pure terror. That night, a deafening crash erupted in the living room, followed by the sound of heavy objects hitting the floor. I jolted awake and sat straight up in bed. Malbufin leaped out of bed before me, gripping the chainsaw tightly in his hands. I also grabbed a handy wooden club. The living room was a mess, and I could hear voices talking. Malbufin violently yanked the door open. 3 men were standing in our living room. The beams of their flashlights illuminated their faces. 2 of them were the thugs who had snatched that woman's bag the other night. And the 3rd one was actually the scumbag who threw the woman out of the window. I gasped sharply. Wow, all the human trash gathered in one place. Seeing the wall they had smashed through, I was both furious and terrified. What do you want? Malbufin demanded coldly. If that bitch hadn't sworn you had food here, we wouldn't have bothered going through so much trouble to break in. Your security measures are quite impressive. The lead man looked around, full of mockery. Listen up, we're from the Anti-Zombie Alliance. Coming to collect some protection fees is perfectly reasonable, right? Don't worry, just hand over the supplies and no one gets hurt. Screw you. You make it sound so nice. You're nothing but societal scum. I was burning with anger. All my pent-up frustration exploded at this moment. Mao Bufan glanced at me in surprise. Oh ho, this little lady has quite the temper. Boss, stop wasting time with them. Just do it. Come and try me. Mao Bufan forcefully revved the chainsaw. The loud buzzing of the chainsaw made the thugs hesitate slightly. But since they outnumbered us, they quickly backed Mao Bufan into a corner. I swung my wooden club and joined the fight. Catching him off guard, I smashed the club down hard onto one of the men. He collapsed heavily. Dead. The man beside him turned and swung a club at me. At the critical moment, Mao Bufan roared furiously. Stop. Donnez tout cher. Take whatever you want from the house. But don't hurt anyone, otherwise I won't let you off. Mao Bufan's fierce glare intimidated them. The man paused, his club stopping less than half a meter from me. He looked over at the lead man. The leader seemed taken aback by Mao Bufan's ruthless de mano. He turned and kicked the man on the floor. Useless trash, can't even beat a woman. Then he began ordering his men to haul away the supplies. Quickly, everything in the house was completely cleaned out by them. Mao Bufan looked at me with despair, muttering to himself, I'm sorry. I'm so useless. Don't say that. As long as we're alive, there's hope. After our food was robbed, Mao Bufan quickly patched up the smashed wall. But he looked far more depressed. Even though I tried everything to cheer him up, he still wore a constant frown. Early one morning, I was awakened by rustling sounds. I quickly glanced beside me and found Mao Bufan wasn't in bed. A faint sense of unease crept in. I tiptoed quietly out of bed. In the guest room, Mao Bufan was wrapping a wound on his body with plastic wrap. What are you doing? I asked suddenly. Startling him so much, he dropped the plastic wrap. Mao Bufan looked at me with an awkward expression, then picked up the wrap again. What exactly are you trying to do? Wounds won't heal easily like that, and it'll get infected, I said, getting a bit angry. I'm going out to find food. You stay safely at home. I knew it. I guessed right. Mao Bufan was afraid the smell of his wound would attract zombies. No, if you go, we go together. Otherwise, neither of us goes. The situation outside is very complicated. I don't want you taking risks with me. Mao Bufan's eyes dimmed. His voice filled with defeat. Haven't you seen my combat skills? I definitely won't hold you back. I pulled Mao Bufan's arm, my attitude resolute. Mao Bufan knew my stubbornness and understood I'd never let him go alone. He stared at me for a long moment and finally yielded helplessly. You can come. But remember, we're only going out for supplies. Don't put yourself in any traps. Staying alive is the most important thing. Mao Bufan warned me very seriously. Première no dead. Before leaving, he dismantled a mop and firmly tied two knives to the wooden handles. Oui trop. He said this would be easier to wield, more lethal, and effective for both long and close range. Next, we put on the anti-cut gloves we bought earlier, and opened the door that had been sealed for 2 months. Both Mao, Bufin, and I felt a heavy weight in our hearts. We walked cautiously the entire way. The once bustling streets were now exceptionally desolate. Not a single person was in sight. The smell of rotting flesh permeated the air. Fortunately, our luck wasn't bad. We didn't run into any zombies along the way. When we arrived at the supermarket, the vegetables and fruits on the shelves had long rotted to mush. Flies and bugs swarmed everywhere. The surrounding shelves were completely empty. Everything outside had probably been looted long ago. Let's try our luck in the warehouse. Remembert. Just look for the items on the list. Be careful. The warehouse was also a chaotic mess. Dark and messy. We groped our way forward bit by bit. And we actually managed to find some edible food, hidden among a pile of boxes. Perhaps people left in a hurry and missed them. Keep looking. There might be more. Watch your back. I quickly stuffed the unexpired, filling food into my bag. I was feeling quite pleased, thinking my luck was off the charts. Suddenly, a dark figure lunged from the side. I shivered in shock and instinctively thrust my knife out in a wild panic. The zombie let out a sharp, piercing screech. Before I could even catch my breath, Mao, Bufin suddenly shouted, I grabbed your knife and slashed aggressively to the right. Thank goodness Mao, Bufin rushed over, kicked a nearby shelf over, pinning another zombie underneath it. Then he finished it off with his meat cleaver. Are you hurt? Mao, he carefully checked me, frantically pulled me injuries. I'm perfectly fine. Don't worry, confirming I was completely unharmed. Mao, Bufin, finally let out a sigh of relief. He wiped the sweat from his forehead. Then, the low growls of zombies getting closer and closer. The noise just now must have attracted them. Run! Trembling, Mao Bufin grabbed my hand and ran toward the entrance. A massive wave of zombies came right at us. Mao, Bufin, and I fought them off desperately. They only weren't gaining any advantage either. Panting heavily from exhaustion, when a zombie lunged straight at me. I had no time to react. Thank God Mao, Bufin charged over and shoved the zombie along as we sprinted out of the supermarket, after running quite a distance. I stole a glance at Mao, Bufin. His face was rather pale, but he still wore a smile. I didn't expect you to have such a fierce side to you. Finally back home. Mao, Bufin affectionately said his eyes were bloodshot. He wanted to eat the dumplings I make. He seemed extremely exhausted. What's wrong? Are you feeling unwell? Saying that, I felt his forehead. He didn't have a fever. Looking at the fresh food we just got. Première nodded. The first plate of dumplings was done. I told him to eat them while they were hot, and that he didn't need to wait for me. While I was boiling the second plate of dumplings, I suddenly heard the sound of the front door closing. I rushed out of the kitchen to look. There was only a pair of chopsticks left on the table, and a plate with 2 or 3 missing dumplings. The whole house was dead silent. In un instant, I suddenly remembered Mao Bufen's bloodshot eyes, and how he kept his left hand tightly clenched. He had been bitten by a zombie. I was so nervous at the time that I completely overlooked this detail, staring at the empty room. The plate in my hand crashed to the floor. It felt like a piece of my heart had been carved out so much I couldn't breathe. Mao Bufen, you big jerk, where did you go? What am I supposed to do without you? I curled up in a ball of heartbreak, murmuring to myself. With Mao Bufen gone, my life fell into an endless abyss of darkness. Countless times I wanted to end it all, but eventually I gave up on the idea. I'm not afraid of death. I just didn't want to disappoint Mao Bufen. Slowly, I adapted to living and learned how to survive in this cold, indifferent world. But the void in my heart was always there. I even naively fantasized that Mao Bufen was hiding in some corner one day. He would jump out and say, "Xiang Xiang, I'm back." On the 25th day of his disappearance, I found an exquisite little box and an envelope in the closet. His handwriting was on it. Xiang Xiang. By the time you open this letter, has the apocalyptic crisis been completely resolved? Even if it hasn't, that's okay. I believe in your strength. I know you will survive and live well. During these apocalyptic days, there are always so many unexpected accidents. Regret. Not having everything perfectly arranged beforehand, making you suffer so much alongside me. You were always curious how I could predict the future. Today, I'll tell you the answer. Actually, everything about this apocalypse. I have already experienced it 3 times. I always wanted you to survive. But due to twist of fate, I failed every time. So I kept being reborn again and again, just wanting to protect you. This is the 4th time. I finally grasped the tail of destiny and left the hope of survival to you. This nightmare of an apocalyptic game. I only wish the ending to be that you can live on happily, no matter how rough the road ahead is. You are not alone. My love will always be with you. Reading this, my eyes felt like a leaking pipe. Tears poured down uncontrollably. I pressed the letter tightly against my chest and whispered softly, "Mao Bufen, I miss you. Please come back, okay?" Shin. I opened that exquisite little box. Inside lay a beautiful ring. Engraved on it were my and Mao Bufen's initials. I put the ring on my finger. Mao Bufen. You said you were going to marry me. I will always wait for you to come back in order to survive. I sneaked out again to scavenge for food. Without Mao Bufen by my side, I was even more careful and cautious. Perhaps it was Mao Bufen watching over me, because I didn't run into a single zombie. Only on my way back, passing by a large warehouse, I saw the Anti-Zombie Alliance bullying people again. This time, their target was an old man over 50. Several thugs surrounded the old man, laughing mischievously as they tossed the old man's food back and forth in the air. The old man paced around them helplessly. "Have some mercy, please. My wife has been sick for days. If she doesn't eat something soon, she really won't survive." "Old fool, You're already at death's door. Why are you hoarding resources? It's just a waste. If you don't leave me a way out, then none of us will get out of this alive. Oh, really? You dare threaten us? You think we wouldn't beat an old man? The lead man raised his hand and slapped the old man hard. Hiding behind a gate, I watched with clenched teeth. Juste then, the old man suddenly pulled a homemade bomb from his bag and detonated it in pure despair. Instantly, flames engulfed the sky. The explosion was deafening. The men were blown in all directions, their agonized screams filling the air. Kikli. This massive commotion attracted a horde of zombies. The two men, who were still alive, started running in my direction. I froze for a couple of seconds, then used all my strength to slam the gate shut and locked it tight. A series of wretched screams echoed over. Those men had likely become a delicious feast for the zombies. Truly, what goes around comes around. Karma always catches up. In the days without Mao Bufan, writing in my diary became my daily routine. I wanted to wait until the time we reunite, so I could catch him up on the time we missed. I firmly believed that day would soon arrive. Finally, 2 months later, from every corner of the city, an inspiring broadcast suddenly echoed. Dear citizens of Haoxiong, hello, we are thrilled to announce that scientists have developed a cure. The dark days are finally over. Thank you all for enduring this hardship. The world is now rebooting. A new order is being established. Welcome to this brand new era. Not long after, the once dead streets began to bustle with life again. People's faces were full of expression, greeting each other warmly. They were human, no zombie. Standing by the window, tears streamed down my face uncontrollably. With excitement, I threw the window wide open. Fresh air replaced the putrid stench of decay. A long-lost smile couldn't help but bloom on my face. The zombie apocalypse left massive trauma on humanity. Many people decided to leave Haoxiong City, but I stayed right here. In the following days, I asked around everywhere. I asked many people who had recovered from being zombies, but they all said they hadn't seen Mao Bufan. People around me advised me to give up. After all, not every zombie was lucky enough to survive until the cure. Every time, I would smile and politely decline their well-meaning advice. Deep down, I had a strong premonition that Mao Bufan would definitely return. One early morning, rustling noises suddenly came from the kitchen. Could it be that the zombie horde had returned? I broke out in a cold sweat from terror. I grabbed my weapon and quietly tiptoed out of bed. In the kitchen, a man's figure was busy working. He was expertly stirring the porridge in the pot. Tisson had replayed in my dreams countless times. My eyes instantly welled up with tears. Mao Bufan, I called out to him softly, my voice choked with emotion. The man turned his head and looked at me with a warm smile. Xiong xiong. Itegatisme. I'm home,